As you watch the deep meaning images in this video, I'll walk you through deep motivational words up to the last minutes. Have you ever noticed how sometimes joy and pain arrive at the same time, at the same moment, and we just freeze, unsure which way to lean? We pause at the edge of a choice, feeling the pull of what excites us and the weight of what terrifies us. We've all stood there in some silent room of our mind, watching the echoes of what might be and feeling the harm of what already is. It is like we are balancing on a thin bridge that stretches between the life we imagine and the life we are afraid to touch. And beneath it, the river of time flows endlessly, carrying moments with decree. We see people all around us, maybe even ourselves, hesitating before sending an email, before speaking the truth, before letting a moment of vulnerability slip out. We hold back because the risk of disappointment feels heavier than the relief of trying. And yet, somehow, we keep circling the same question in our minds. Was I enough? Did I choose wisely? Did I let the opportunity slip without noticing? We do this silently, privately, as in our thoughts are the only witness to the tension that stretches us thin. We remember that night when we stayed awake staring at the scene, replaying every decision, wondering if the path we took was that right on one. We remember the way our hands trembled with anticipation, the way our chest tightened when the future pressed too close. And yet, even then, we had small flickers of something else, a whisper that said the moment, exactly as it was, mattered. We didn't understand it fully at time, but we felt it. That growth often hides in crossing of joy and pain. We recall our first big misstep, the choice that seemed small in the moment but grew into a silent regret over months. And we notice how strange it feels to look back now, seeing it not as a failure, but as a moment that carved a new line in our thinking. We were hesitant, unsure, caught between fear and hope. We doubted ourselves, we felt ashamed, and yet there was anticipation too, a pull toward the unknown, a silent invitation to keep stepping forward, even when the ground seemed unstable. We watch people around us, and sometimes we envy their certainty. We whisper to ourselves that perhaps they had figured it out, that perhaps they grind across their bridge without trembling. But the truth we notice silently is that everyone is learning to step into the rhythm with uncertainty. Everyone is navigating the dance between what they want and what they fear. We just don't see the trembling in their hands, the station in their hearts, the private rehearsal of courage before each choice. We sense that there is a rhythm here, a subtle cadence to the way we move through moments of joy and pain, anticipation and regret, doubt and decision. And we recognize that even when we feel stuck, even when the river of time seems to rush past too quickly. Something is happening. The tension itself is teaching us. The sudden uncertainty is shaping us. The hesitation before we act, the pause before we breathe, is part of a journey that is much about noticing our own rhythm as it is about moving forward. We are here in this shared space, noticing together, reflecting together, and we start to sense that the path forward is not about choosing between joy or pain, certainty or doubt, acting or hesitation. It's about learning and leaning into the space between them. It's about learning the steps of a dance we didn't know we could learn. And if we watch closely, if we allow ourselves to feel the trembling, we begin to notice the moment where faith and action start to find each other silently in the space we never expected. You notice it too, don't you? That silent voice in the back of your mind that measures every choice before it leaves your hands. You feel it when you hesitate, when a decision seems small to everyone else but enormous to you. You feel the weight of possibilities pressing against your chest, and sometimes it is heavier than you think you can carry. You have tried to be careful, to plan, to imagine every outcome, and still you wake in the night wondering if you misstepped, wondering if you could have done better. You swing between hope and hesitation, like a pendulum you didn't ask to carry, each act shaping who you are. Even if it feels invisible in the moment, you catch glimpses of yourself in the mirror of time, noticing choices you made almost unconsciously, the moment you skipped speaking out, the image you didn't send, the risk you avoided. Time is a mirror, reflecting the choices you didn't notice you were making, silently revealing the patterns of avid avoidance, the repeated doubt, the way fear shapes and shape of your day. You have tried experimenting on yourself, small and silent, almost invisible to anyone else. You journal about the mornings you wake determined to act with intention, and the evenings when reflection revealed a silent failure. You notice the difference between the decision made in panic or hope and those made in gentle curiosity about the world. Some days you feel spectacularly. You say the wrong thing, hesitate too long, step in the wrong direction, and yet those failures, those examined in the soft light of reflection, reveal something you might not have expected. A pattern of learning, a rhythm of growth that only becomes visible when you step back. You realize that growth happens when you stop avoiding the discomfort that comes with joy. That moment when you hold your breath before sharing your work, before telling the truth, before leaning into a feeling, even if it scares you. Those are the moments where life suddenly teaches you. You remember the night you spent rewriting an email a dozen times, worried that each word could betray your intentions. You said it anyway. You felt your heart hammer, and then nothing catastrophic happened. And slowly you noticed that the act itself, not the outcome, shifted something inside you. You feel a silent anxiety when your mind races ahead, imagining the worst case scenario. You feel a fleeting confidence when you remember yourself that even small, intentional steps carry weight. You have seen the lessons that only living can teach, the first time you spoke up and your idea was dismissed, you wanted to cut back into safety. But when you reflected, scribbled your thoughts into a journal, you noticed that courage wasn't a result, it was a practice. Meaning, it cultivated through acts of courage and kindness, even when no one is watching, even when no one responds the way you hoped. You have watched yourself repeat patterns. You tried to control outcomes, to bend the world to your sense of safety. But life has a stubborn way of teaching. Sometimes the attempt to stay every moment leads only to frustration. You've learned that experience is a bridge between knowing and understanding. That moment when path you meticulously charted collapsed into unexpected chaos. It felt like failure. And yet, in hindsight, you can see how that collapse revealed clarity you didn't have imagined. The lesson of your life live in cracks, in moments when control slipped through your fingers and something else took shape. You feel the tension between wanting meaning and fearing pain. Every choice holds a possibility of disappointment. Every attempt carries the risk of rejection, and yet each attempt also carries a silent invitation to notice what matters, to learn what is real, to observe the way courage and hesitation live side by side in your chest. You realize that every choice is an opportunity to learn and to evolve, and yet evolution doesn't look like a triumph. It looks like noticing the trauma in your own voice, the tightness in your chest, the moment you wish you had run away but didn't. You remember a failure that still stings, a choice you agonized over for a few weeks. Maybe it was a conversation you avoided, or a project you abandoned halfway, or an act of vulnerability you didn't summon. Or maybe you could not summon. At the time, it felt like a proof that you weren't enough. But now, looking back, you see it differently. You see that the hesitation itself was a teacher. You see the subtle ways it shaped your next choice, your next attempt, the next step to understanding your own rhythm. Life's lessons are best learned through living them, and you are living them one imperfect, trembling step at a time. You notice how fleeting confidence can be, how it rises and falls in the tide. Some days it felt like a whisper, barely there, and some days it is bold and startling. And yet, whether silent or loud, it gets you when you listen. You feel it when you make a decision rooted in love, when you pause to consider the people around you, the moment of connection you often overlook. Meaning shines brightest in those moments, small and intimate, often unnoticed. The choices to speak kindly, to speak forward despite fear, to act with intention. Those are the gestures that shape the act of your life more than you realize. You have experimented with your own courage in ways that felt almost invisible. You tried writing your fears down, observing them without judgment. You tried making small, intentional decisions, noting how they changed the texture of your days. And you learned something silently remarkable. The discomfort of growth is not something to avoid. It is the very medium through which you discover who you are. Growth is the reward of perseverance through trials, but the reward is really fresh. It is a subtle. It is the shift in your awareness, the way you notice patterns forming, the way you understand, and your understanding deepens. You sit with your feelings, your fears, your silent anticipation, you notice that life is a dance between faith and action. Even when faith feels fragile, you feel the tension between waiting and stepping, between trusting and the unknown and relying on what you already know. And in those moments, the pendulum swings again, carrying you through moments of joy and moments of pain. And still, you notice yourself surrendering, observing your own movement, realizing that the act of noticing is part of the journey itself. We notice how often life seems like a series of closed doors and sudden openings. We have all stood at an ending, thinking it's final, feeling the weight of what we have lost. And yet, if we look closer, we realize every ending carries the seed of beginning. The moment one chapter closes, we find ourselves on another threshold, hesitant, unsure, holding our breath. And we wonder if anyone else feels this silent tension. The subtle fear that the next step might reveal we are not ready. But of course, we are ready. Perhaps not in the way we imagine, not in the way we demand of ourselves, but ready enough to notice, to take the next step, to let the moment teach us. We watch how life balances itself in a strange rhythms. There are heartbeats that do not match the clock, breath that come in bursts, decision that seems urgent yet resolve slowly over time. We notice how a single day can hold triumph and regret, laughter and unease, clarity and confusion. And when we look back through the journey of our own lives, we see that the lessons we almost value are rarely immediate. They arrive silently, like sunlight filtering through leaves, slowly illuminating the path we thought we already understood. We remember walks in the forest, real or imagined, where the path wasn't clear. We remember stepping over roots unsure which direction to take, feeling the weight of both excitement and apprehensions. Each step teaches something. If we are paying attention, we notice how our balance shifts with each careful movement, how our gaze flickers between what is solid and what is uncertain, how we learn to trust the ground beneath our feet even when the forest seems to stretch endlessly. The path is not just a path, it is a reflection of our own rhythm, our own internal pendulum swinging between courage and hesitation. We notice that the silent reward of perseverance and courage does not come in applause or acknowledgement. It comes in the subtle realignment of ourselves, the moment we recognize that we have moved forward despite trembling, despite fear, despite the voice that whispered, "Stop." And in that recognition, we understand that the dance between faith and action is not about perfect steps or flawless timing. It's about continuing the movement, letting our own rhythm emerge, letting the tension of uncertainty become part of the music itself. We reflect on the choices we have made with intention. Some were small, offering a word of kindness, holding a difficult conversation, sitting with someone in silence. Some were larger, choosing to change careers, to leave situations that no longer served us, to trust in unknown. And we notice that whether small or large, each choice carries a weight beyond what we can measure at the time. The meaning of those choices unfold over weeks, months, years, sometimes decades. Meaning is cultivated slowly in the silent rhythm of intention. We observe how often we chase reality and yet find it in the smallest moment of connection. A shared smile, a look that communicates understanding without words, a gentle act of courage that ripples silently outward. Those moments hold the light we often search for in a dramatic gesture or sweeping achievement. And we realize softly that the journey teaches us to cherish both high and low, the peaks and valleys, the rivers and the bridge, because each shape of experience forms the contours of who we are becoming. We notice the stories we carry with us, not as lessons or warnings, but as our companions. The failures that once seemed unbearable now sit silently in the background, remind us of what we served, of what we tried, of what we learned, in the space between expectation and reality. The successes that once felt like everything now seems like moments that merely illuminated the ongoing process of growth. And when we write in our journals, when we reflect silently, we discover a collective sense of discovery, a reminder that we are never alone in the navigating and tension of life. We reflect on the rhythm of courage, which does not arrive at once. It comes in flickers, in repetitions, in small experiments that seemed sometimes fail, and in those failures, we notice patterns, subtle but profound. We see how attempting to control outcomes rarely produces clarity, but noticing that what emerges from our attempts does. We watch the dance between effort and surrender, between expectation and observation, between fear and silent curiosity that grows when we let experience teach us. We notice how the pendulum swings within us, but also between us and the world. Every choice, every hesitation, every small act of courage resonates outward, creating a subtle rhythm of collective experience. We see the bridge we have crossed, some rickety and trembling, some unexpectedly solid. We see the rivers that carry both sorrow and sometimes swift, sometimes calm, always moving. And we realize that the path to purpose, the path to meaning, is discovered not by forcing clarity, but by observing the flows, by noticing how the rhythm of living shapes understanding. We reflect on sudden realization that we are part of larger dance, the moment of connection, the times we act with courage, the decision made with care. They all ripple through our shared experience. The story is not ours alone. And when we notice this, the weight of solitary struggles soften. We are not failing in isolation. We are learning, experimenting, stepping forward together even when we cannot see the outcomes. We notice the subtle magic in ordinary days, in the decisions that feel too small to matter, holding the door for someone, sending a note of encouragement, choosing to stay when it would be easier to leave. Those are the moments where meaning silently accumulates. And we see how every act of reflection, every intentional choice, every pause to notice our own rhythm shapes the contours of our life's story. Courage is not loud, it's not always visible, but it is persistent. And in noticing it, we recognize the silent patterns that ties the highs and lows together. We notice that life asks us not for perfection, but for presence. Not for certainty, but for careful attention. The dance between faith and action continues even when we are unsure, even when we falter, and we observe it together. We notice that the pendulum swings with rhythm that is at once fragile and resilient, unpredictable yet steady. We are running, we are moving, we are noticing. And that noticing itself becomes a form of silent courage, a shared understanding, a gentle acknowledgement of the journey. You might notice in the silence of tomorrow how small choices shape the rhythm of your day. How one decision, almost unnoticed, ripples outward, affecting the moments you cannot yet foresee. You might not decide to speak up when it feels easier to remain silent, and that single act could tilt a conversation, shift a relationship, or silently alter the way you see yourself. And you might also decide to pause, to breathe, to notice the movement of your own thoughts before acting. And that too will leave a mark, subtle but lasting. You could experiment with courage in ways that feel almost invisible. You might try journaling your anxieties and hopes, letting words spill without judgment, letting them form patterns you did not see before. You might allow yourself to fail again, not with despair, but with the curiosity that follows observation. You could step into moments that feel uncertain, holding only the intention to notice, to feel, to engage. And in those experiments, you might discover that the discomfort you feared is a companion, not as an enemy, guiding you toward understanding rather than away from it. You might see that courage is not always a sudden surge, but a gentle persistence. You might notice that act of kindness and intention silently accumulate. That even a glance, a pause, a word offered with care can become part of a larger pattern you could not have predicted. And you might realize slowly that meaning is not something handed to you. It is something discovered, something cultivated through your presence in the world, your engagement with your own fears, and your willingness to learn in what matters. You might revisit memories of past failures, moments that once felt unbearable, and notice them with a different lens. You might see the ways those missteps taught you more than your triumphs ever could. You could reflect on the hesitation you once felt, the choices deferred, the paths avoided, and recognize that each was part of your learning. You might see the pendulum swings again, fear and hope, doubt and confidence, and notice how it shapes the person you are becoming. You could allow yourself to observe the subtle rhythm of your own heart, the way your thoughts drift between anticipation and worry, between joy and disappointment. You might notice the patterns that emerge when you act with intention versus when you act out of compassion or fear. You could experiment with making choices that prioritize presence over perfection, reflection over immediate resolution, understanding over judgment. And as you observe, you might find that growth is not a sudden revelation, but a slow accumulation, like a river carving its path through stone over time. You might imagine moments in the near future where your courage will show silently. Perhaps it is a conversation you have been avoiding. Perhaps it is a project you hesitate to complete. Perhaps it is a connection you hope to deepen. You could step into those memories with the awareness that the outcome is not the lesson. The engagement itself is. You might notice that each small experiment carries the potential to teach you something new about yourself, about others, about the rhythm of life itself. You might remember the times you tried to control everything, the moments you thought mastery meant eliminating risk, and you might notice how much you learned when control slipped, when life unfolded unpredictably, when the river carried you in direction you did not anticipate. You could let that memory guide you, not as a warning, but as a subtle reminder that experience is the bridge between knowing and understanding. That bridge is yours to walk in small steps, in silent reflection, in intentional presence. You might take a moment each day to notice that what matters, not as a rule, not as expectation, but as a gentle observation. You could notice a rhythm of your choices, a silent courage or in ordinary acts, the way intention shapes experience. You might see how connection illuminates meaning in ways you cannot measure. A shared glance, a kind word, a silent act of consideration. And as you notice, you might realize that those moments, though often overlooked, hold more significance than you ever imagined. You might notice how growth, discomfort, courage, and kindness interweave in your own life. You could allow yourself to lean into uncertainty, to experiment, to fail and reflect. You might see that each action, each observation, each pause to consider is a gentle contribution to a life shaped by awareness. You might imagine yourself continuing this rhythm silently, with intention, with curiosity, with patience. You might let yourself feel the silent satisfaction of noticing your own evolution. You could imagine the future self who has walked those small experiments before you, who has learned to move with pendulum rather than against it, who has discovered that courage is not always loud but always present. You might notice how intention slowly builds clarity, how reflection deepens understanding, how small acts of kindness ripple outward in ways you cannot yet see. You might close this reflection with this simple observation. If something felt familiar, if something resonated, if you felt a similar recognition in those words, you already know what matters. The choices, the courage, the pauses, the reflections, they are yours to explore, yours to notice, yours to inhabit. And the river moves on, carrying each step, each experiment, each moment of observation forward. You might simply allow yourself to follow it flow, to see where it leads, to notice how your life shapes itself silently, intentionally, and fully. We have walked through shadows and light, together yet apart. We have noticed a pendulum swinging, the river flowing, the bridge we cross and sometimes hesitate upon. We have seen moments of hesitation and moments of courage, and in observing them, we recognize the rhythm of being human, the tension, the uncertainty, the small victories, the silent failures. They are all part of the same ongoing story. And in this shared noticing, we feel a gentle reassurance. We are not alone in the space between what we want and what we fear. We have regarded on choices that once seemed impossible, reflected on the failures that once stung, and glimpsed the subtle ways growth unfolds when we lean into discomfort rather than fleeing from it. We have seen how meaning is not handed to us in sudden revelation, but emerges softly through repeated acts of attention, intention, and courage. The connection we cultivate, the care we extend, the small decision we make with awareness, they ripple outward in ways we never measure, silently shaping the texture of our lives. We notice that reflection itself is a form of courage. To pause, to observe, to reckon with our own inner life without judgment is an act of gentle strength. To sit with uncertainty, to let the river of experience carry us while keeping watch over our own choices, is a practice we share silently with those who walk beside us, even when distance separates us. And in this shared pattern, we discover a subtle continuity. The journey is ongoing, the dance between faith and action never fully complete, but always offering new moments to notice, to feel, to align with what matters. We carry with us the lessons of the past, the experiments of the present, and the soft potential of the future. We remember that courage does not always arrive as a roar. It often arrives as a silent road nod, a small step, a pause to observe rather than react. Reflection is not a destination, it is a companion. Connection is not a requirement, it is a subtle illumination of meaning. Intention is not a command, it is a gentle shaping of presence. And in acknowledging this, we feel a silent empowerment, the sense that life is not a puzzle to solve, but a rhythm to inhabit, fully, imperfectly, and intentionally. We live this moment not with answers, but with noticing, not with instruction, but with awareness. The pendulum will swing, the river will flow, the bridges will tremble and stabilize again. Courage will rise and fall, reflection will deepen, connection will illuminate, and you, silently, will continue to move through it, noticing, experimenting, leaning into what matters. If something felt familiar, if a recognition stirred, if a silent pulse of understanding emerged, you already know what matters.